Picture this: Chris Hemsworth trapped in a deadly prison riot, fighting off waves of inmates while his arm is literally on fire, and the camera just keeps rolling. If you are tired of soft PG-13 superhero movies where every punch is hidden by a quick cut, you're in the right place. Today, we are counting down the 10 most brutal, bone-crushing action movies streaming on Netflix right now. No holding back. Let's get into it.
Are we safe?
Till my dying day.
All we want is the girl, Luke.
Now you're dealing with me.
We kick things off with Jason Statham doing what Jason Statham does best: walking into dangerous situations and making everyone regret being there. In Safe, he plays Luke Wright, a former elite agent whose life has completely fallen apart. That changes when he crosses paths with May, an 11-year-old math prodigy being hunted through New York City. The reason? She has memorized a valuable numerical code, and everyone wants it. The Russian mafia, the Chinese triads, and even corrupt New York cops are closing in. Unfortunately for them, Luke decides to protect her. From that point on, Safe barely slows down. The fights are quick, the gunplay is nasty, and Statham tears through one group of criminals after another without turning the movie into a CGI spectacle. It's not the bloodiest movie on this list, but it's fast, physical, and hits hard enough to earn the opening spot. At number 9, 6 Underground.
Watch me, watch me, watch me, do this.
Sounds fun, right?
What happens when you hand Michael Bay a massive budget and basically zero creative restrictions? You get an absolute spectacle built entirely around car crashes, huge explosions, and next-level property damage. Ryan Reynolds stars as an eccentric billionaire who fakes his own death to build a ghost squad of untraceable operatives. Their goal? Taking down ruthless dictators that standard governments absolutely refuse to touch. The movie wastes zero time showing its hand. The opening 20-minute car chase through Florence, Italy is pure chaos, leaving wrecked cars and absolute destruction everywhere. And it somehow gets even crazier, ending with a massive magnetic yacht that turns everyday metal objects into deadly weapons. It's loud, messy, and ridiculously over the top. If you want blockbuster popcorn entertainment at its most unapologetically destructive, this one delivers big time. Coming in at number 8 is Polar.
Why are you doing this?
I like it.
Based on the gritty graphic novel, this stylish action thriller stars Mads Mikkelsen as Duncan Visla, one of the world's deadliest assassins. He is literally days away from a quiet retirement when his shady employer decides that simply killing him is way cheaper than paying out his pension. That decision goes about as horribly as you'd expect. A squad of younger, highly eccentric assassins is sent to hunt him down, only to realize that age hasn't slowed the Black Kaiser down one bit. Mikkelsen plays the role brilliantly, with a cold, dead-eyed stare, letting his weapons do the talking. The violence here shifts between uncomfortable, gritty torture sequences and massive, stylized shootouts, including a wild bunker scene with laser-guided machine guns. It's a dark, bloody, and highly stylized ride that never holds back. At number 7, Ballerina. We head overseas to South Korea for a sleek, neon-soaked revenge thriller directed by Lee Chung-hyun. The story follows Ok-ju, a former elite bodyguard who discovers her best friend was driven to take her own life by a vicious trafficking ring. Her friend leaves one final request: make them pay. Ok-ju doesn't hesitate. Instead of feeling like a loud superhero movie, the action here is incredibly sharp, calculated, and terrifyingly precise. She uses guns, knives, and whatever else is lying around, finishing fights in seconds. The gorgeous, colorful cinematography creates a wild contrast with the dark, angry violence happening on screen, culminating in a deeply satisfying, close-quarters final shootout. It's shorter and way more restrained than other films on this list, getting straight to the bloody point without overstaying its welcome. At number 6, Boy Kills World. Produced by Sam Raimi, this revenge-fueled action flick is what happens if you throw a brutal video game and a dark comic book into a blender. Bill Skarsgård plays Boy, a deaf-mute orphan whose family was wiped out by a dystopian city's ruling elite. He's trained by a wild shaman and turns into an absolute weapon. By the way, how many of you actually recognize Skarsgård here without his creepy Pennywise makeup from It? Drop a comment if you spotted him right away, because the physical transformation is crazy. Once he heads back to the city, the movie goes completely off the rails. Told through Boy's hilarious inner monologue, the violence gets insanely creative. One second, it's a martial arts brawl, and the next, someone gets taken out with a cheese grater. Skarsgård handles all his storytelling through heavy, visceral combat. It's weird, dripping with dark humor, and entirely unpredictable. If you want action with a massive dose of absurdity, this is it.
Breaking into the top 5, War Machine. This military survival thriller throws in an enemy that completely changes the rules of engagement. Alan Ritchson leads a tight squad of Army Rangers on a selection mission deep in the wilderness, only to encounter an otherworldly threat that doesn't feel pain, fear, or exhaustion. The setup definitely gives off heavy Predator vibes, as these highly trained soldiers are slowly hunted down in hostile territory. What makes the combat so engaging is the sheer physical weight of it. Richardson is built like a tank, and the movie forces his team into desperate, heavy-hitting brawls when their standard weapons fail. The tactical gunplay quickly devolves into frantic night vision ambushes and raw, close-range survival fighting. It is a grueling, exhausting watch in the best way possible. It puts incredibly capable soldiers up against an unstoppable force, locks them in the woods, and just lets you watch the absolute chaos unfold. At number 4, The Rip.
You have 30 minutes to get out of that house.
Is there anything that you've heard about him?
I'm breaking left! I got the roof!
The monsters and assassins are gone, but the violence is just as nasty. Directed by Joe Carnahan, this gritty, sweat-soaked thriller stars Matt Damon and Ben Affleck as Miami cops who stumble upon a cartel stash house loaded with millions. Finding the cash is easy. Surviving the paranoia is the hard part. As greed takes over, loyalties crumble, and every single conversation feels like someone is a split second away from pulling a trigger. Carnahan doesn't do clean, choreographed Hollywood fights. The shootouts here are sudden, messy, and devastatingly loud. Damon and Affleck bring a heavy, exhausted realism to their roles, making the betrayal sting even more. By the third act, the movie shifts into a claustrophobic, incredibly tense battle, where you have no idea who is going to make it out alive. It proves you don't need massive explosions to be brutal. Just a tight room, armed people, and millions of dollars on the line.
Entering the top 3,
The Night Comes for Us. This is the movie that makes almost everything else on this list look like a kid's cartoon. It follows Ito, a triad enforcer who shows mercy to a young girl during a massacre, instantly turning the entire criminal underworld against him. Once the action starts, it is a non-stop endurance test. The violence is relentlessly ugly. Characters use meat hooks, shattered glass, and broken furniture to tear each other apart. Every fight looks genuinely painful. The absolute peak is the final, exhausting warehouse brawl between Joe Taslim and Iko Uwais. Quick question for the hardcore action fans. Did any of you actually manage to watch that entire final fight without looking away? Be honest in the comments, because that scene is seriously tough to stomach. It lasts so long you wonder how either guy is still standing, with every single slash adding to the agony. This is a masterclass in on-screen brutality that completely pushes the limits of what a movie can get away with.
our runner-up,
Havoc. Just missing the top spot, this gritty action thriller teams up Tom Hardy with Gareth Evans, the legendary director behind The Raid. That combo alone tells you exactly how much punishment is in store. Hardy plays a bruised, pill-popping detective trying to rescue a politician's son after a drug deal goes completely sideways. To do it, he has to tear through a corrupt city where everyone wants him dead. This isn't a clean action movie where the hero barely breaks a sweat. Hardy gets thrown around, beaten down, and looks increasingly desperate as the night drags on. Evans shoots the action beautifully, bringing his signature heavy-impact, bone-snapping style to the dirty, rain-slicked streets. The gunfights are chaotic, and the hand-to-hand brawls feature people getting slammed into concrete and smashed through windows with whatever heavy objects happen to be lying around. Hardy fights like an angry, cornered animal, doing whatever it takes to survive. It's dark, gritty, and exhausting in the best way imaginable.
and finally, at number 1, Extraction 2. If you thought the first Extraction was intense, this one raises the bar in every possible way. Chris Hemsworth returns as black market mercenary Tyler Rake, and director Sam Hargrave pushes the practical action to absolute madness. Tyler is tasked with breaking a family out of a Georgian prison, which leads straight into the sequence that earned this movie the crown. For over 20 unbroken minutes, the camera tracks Tyler through a chaotic prison riot, a frantic car chase, and right onto a moving train under helicopter attack. The stunt work is unbelievable. When Tyler's arm literally catches fire, he just keeps swinging, using his burning fist as a weapon. You can feel the sheer exhaustion setting in as his movements get heavier and the damage piles up. Hargrave proves that the best action needs more than just CGI explosions. It needs incredible timing, dedicated stunt performers taking real hits, and a camera that actually lets you see the impact. Combining scale, insane stunt work, and relentless pacing, Extraction 2 is officially the most brutal action experience streaming right now. And that's our list of the 10 most brutal action movies on Netflix. But now comes the real question. Did Extraction 2 deserve the #1 spot? Or is The Night Comes for Us still the undisputed king of brutality? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the countdown, subscribe for more movies worth adding to your watch list. Until next time, thanks for watching.